Welcome to our course on organizational behavior. We hope you will enjoy a meaningful learning process here. This is Chapter 4, Workplace Emotions, Attitudes and Stress. There are 5 learning objectives for this chapter. 4.1 Explain how emotions and cognition, logical thinking, influence attitudes and behavior. 4.2 Discuss the dynamics of emotional labor and the role of emotional intelligence in the workplace. 4.3 Summarize the consequences of job dissatisfaction, as well as strategies to increase organizational, effective, commitment. 4.4 Describe the stress experience and review 3 major stressors. 4.5 Identify 5 ways to manage workplace stress. Here an example of positive attitudes at Rio Tinto. Rio Tinto values the health and well-being of its staff and the communities in which they work and live. Human resources are the company's most important asset, and Rio Tinto invests significantly in initiatives that help its staff to achieve and maintain a high quality of life. Learning Objective 1. 4.1 Explain how emotions and cognition, logical thinking, influence attitudes and behavior. Emotions refers to psychological, behavioral and physiological episodes experienced toward an object, person or event that create a state of readiness. Emotions are experiences that represent changes in our physiological state, psychological state and behavior. Emotions put us in a state of readiness. Let's go through the different types of emotions illustrated in this figure. Please study this figure on attitudes, from beliefs to behavior. The figure shows that cognitive processes and emotional processes have a significant impact on one's behavior. Emotions, attitudes, and behavior. Attitudes represent the cluster of beliefs, assessed feelings and behavioral intentions towards a person, object or event, also called an attitude object. Beliefs are established perceptions about the attitude object. Feelings are defined as positive or negative evaluations of the attitude object. Behavioral intentions represent motivation to engage in a particular behavior regarding the attitude object. Let us learn about emotions from Positive Emotions at ING Direct Australia. To attract and keep talented employees, companies are finding creative ways to generate positive emotions in the workplace. Employees at ING have plenty of fun with the annual Wow Day. Generating positive emotions at work. The Emotions Attitudes Behavior model illustrates that attitudes are shaped by ongoing emotional experiences. Thus, successful companies actively create more positive than negative emotional episodes. Cognitive dissonance is a state of anxiety that occurs when an individual's beliefs, feelings and behaviors are inconsistent with one another. It is most common when one's behavior is known to others, or done voluntarily, or cannot be undone. Emotions and personality. Emotions are also partly determined by a person's personality, not just workplace experiences. Some people, especially extroverts, experience positive emotions as a natural trait. Positive and negative emotional traits affect a person's attendance, turnover and long-term work attitudes. Learning Objective 2. 4.2 Discuss the dynamics of emotional labor and the role of emotional intelligence in the workplace. Emotional labor can be defined as effort, planning and control needed to express organizationally desired emotions during interpersonal transactions. Emotional labor is higher when the job requires: first, frequent and long-duration display of emotions. Second, displaying of a variety of emotions. Third, displaying of more intense emotions. Let's go on a journey across cultures to learn how they display or hide emotion. Minimal emotional expression and monotonic voice is usually seen in Korea, Japan, and Austria. On the other hand, emotional expression are often encouraged in Kuwait, Egypt, Spain, and Russia. Emotional dissonance occurs when people have a hard time to display expected emotions accurately, and to hide true emotions. Emotional dissonance may cause a. Conflict between true and required emotions. B. Potentially stressful situation with surface acting. C. Less stress through deep acting. What do you understand by emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is a set of abilities to perceive and express emotion, assimilate emotion in thought, understand and reason with emotion, and regulate emotion in oneself and others. Here is the figure of emotional intelligence: competence of awareness and management of emotions experienced by yourself and others. Here's another model of emotional intelligence across 4 domains, namely, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness and relationship management. Improving emotional intelligence, or EI. EI is associated with some personality traits, as well as with parental EI. EI has now become a selection criteria. EI can be learned, especially through coaching. EI increases with age and maturity. What do you understand by job satisfaction? Job satisfaction is a person's evaluation of his or her job and work context. It is a collection of attitudes about specific facets of the job. Let us check on how people respond to dissatisfaction through exit, voice, loyalty and neglect. Learning Objective 3. 4.3 Summarize the consequences of job dissatisfaction, as well as strategies to increase organizational, effective, commitment. Job satisfaction and performance. Happy workers are somewhat more productive workers. However, general attitude is a poor predictor of specific behaviors. Job performance affects satisfaction only when rewarded. Effect on performance is strongest in complex jobs because of greater employee influence on job performance. For example, in limited-in assembly lines. Here is an example of how NAB's Clydesdale Bank treats their employees. Employees first, customers second at Clydesdale Bank. NAB's Clydesdale Bank treats employees well so that they treat customers well. They listen to and act on employee concerns, spruce up the work environment, introduce career development programs, provide better coaching and give staff more freedom to decide how to serve clients. Job satisfaction and customers. Job satisfaction increases customer satisfaction and profitability because job satisfaction affects mood, leading to positive behaviors toward customers. Job satisfaction reduces employee turnover, resulting in more consistent and familiar service. We now move on to the figure of job satisfaction and customers. Service profit chain model is a theory explaining how employees' job satisfaction influences company profitability indirectly through service quality, customer loyalty and related factors. Job satisfaction and business ethics. Job satisfaction is also an ethical issue that influences the organization's reputation in the community. Societies expect companies to provide work environments that are safe and enjoyable. Organizational commitment. There are 2 types of commitment that can be seen in organizations. Effective commitment is emotional attachment to, identification with and involvement in an organization. Continuance commitment is calculative attachment, such as decision to stay because it is too costly to quit. Consequences of effective and continuance commitment. Organizational or effective commitment can affect retention, motivation, organizational citizenship and job performance as well as customer satisfaction. However, it can lead to conformity and less creativity. Continuance commitment can be dysfunctional and lead to lower performance and less organizational citizenship behaviors. Look at the figure on building effective commitment. From the figure, we can see that employee commitment to an organization is based on justice or support, shared values, trust, organizational comprehension and employee involvement. Learning Objective 4. 4.4 Describe the stress experience and review 3 major stressors. What do you understand by stress? Stress refers to an adaptive response to a situation that is perceived as challenging or threatening to the person's well-being. It is a physiological and psychological condition that prepares us to adapt to hostile or noxious environmental conditions. Stress may be either eustress, or good stress, or distress, which is bad stress. Allow me to illustrate the general adaptation syndrome. The 3 phases of adaptation towards stress are based on time and ability to cope with stress. What happens if we are under negative stress? Consequences of distress are manifested through physiological, psychological and behavioral changes. Similarly, job burnout process also results in these 3 consequences. What are stressors? Stressors are the causes of stress. These may be any environmental condition that places a physical or emotional demand on the person. Some of the common workplace stressors may be harassment and incivility, work overload and low task control. Psychological harassment. It is a repeated and hostile or unwanted conduct, verbal comments, actions or gestures that affect an employee's dignity or psychological or physical integrity and that result in a harmful work environment for the employee. Sexual harassment is unwelcome conduct, and has detrimental effect on work environment or job performance. Quid pro quo refers to employment or job performance which is conditional on unwanted sexual relations. In a hostile work environment, an intimidating, hostile or offensive working environment is created. Work overload and task control stressors. Work overload stressor means working more hours, more intensely than one can cope with. It is affected by globalization, consumerism, ideal worker norm. Task control stressor occurs due to lack of control over how and when tasks are performed. Take note that one's stress usually increases with one's responsibility. Individual differences in stress. Each person has different threshold levels of resistance to stressor. Therefore, each person may use different stress coping strategies. Resilience to stress is different, due to one's personality and coping strategies. Workaholism may occur when one is highly involved in work, has inner pressure to work and experiences low enjoyment of work. Work-life balance is practiced at Pumpkin Patch to reduce employees' stress as they get to spend more time with their children at work. At Pumpkin Patch, the children's wear store, employees get to spend time with their children. Pumpkin Patch rewards loyalty and long service, and families with young children are supported with in-house creche facilities or childcare subsidies. Learning Objective 5. 4.5 Identify 5 ways to manage workplace stress. Managing work-related stress. There are several coping strategies in managing work-related stress. These include 1. Removing the stressor by minimizing or removing stressors. 2. Withdrawing from the stressor by taking a vacation or rest breaks. 3. Changing stress perceptions through positive self-concept and humor. 4. Controlling stress consequences by practicing healthy lifestyle, fitness, and wellness. 5. Receiving social support. Here is a summary of Chapter 4. Emotions and cognition influence attitudes and behavior. Emotional labor and emotional intelligence have an important role in the workplace. Managers need to strategically increase job satisfaction and organizational commitment. Stress can be harmful to the employee and the organization and needs to be managed by both workplace emotions, attitudes and stress. End of Chapter 4. We sincerely hope you have enjoyed the chapter. Welcome to our course on organization.